The new set Angmet's Conflagration is a confusing set, partly because the translation is terrible and there are typos in the description. In this video, I'm going to go through the 2, 4, and 6 set piece bonuses, diving into some nuances that you may not be aware of, and my recommended setup for both PvE and PvP. Let's jump right in. The 2-piece bonus reads, the duration of your additional Ignite status is increased by 30%. This level of translation is straight copy and paste from Google Translate bad. What it's actually trying to say is that it increases the duration of all of your burn effects by 30%. This would include your burn effects from other skills or items in addition to the Ignite that comes from the 4-piece bonus. And this is how I tested it. To ensure a controlled environment, I've removed all of the legendary gems that causes extra attacks or other effects. I've also carefully controlled my potency to ensure that it stays the same. Using the Burning Essence for Whirling Strike, you can see that the burn effect stays on the dummy for about 5 seconds. Just to be sure, I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I will complete the 2-piece set bonus, being very careful not to add any extra potency, because we don't want potency to increase the duration of the harmful effects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you can see, the burning effect has lasted almost 7 seconds. The 4-piece bonus reads, deal damage. There is a 15% chance of attaching an Ignite status to an enemy when dealing damage, dealing X points of damage per 3 seconds, over 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 3. What this is actually trying to say is whenever you deal damage, there is a 15% chance to add a burning debuff on the opponent. This damage will depend on your stats, but you can have a maximum of 3 of such burning debuffs on the opponent at any given time. There's a few very important details here. Number 1. This 15% chance can be triggered with any damage that you deal, including other damage over time effects. However, the Ignite burning debuff cannot trigger itself, meaning if you have 1 stack of Ignite, its damage over time cannot trigger the 2nd and 3rd stack. As you can see from the video here, as soon as I stop attacking, there are no new additional burning debuff applied. I did this test for several minutes, so I think that observation is fairly accurate unless I just got extremely unlucky. Second important point, as you can see from the video earlier, the ticks from this burning debuff can crit. Another important note is that the maximum of 3 stacks only applies to the Ignite debuff itself. You can have other burning debuffs from other skills on top of the 3. And this maximum stack of 3 is per target. In this example above, you can see that the Ignite debuff triggered an ancestral property, which then triggered another Ignite debuff, which then triggered the Seeping Bile, which then triggered the 3rd Ignite debuff, resulting in a very powerful chain reaction. The 6-piece set bonus reads, when you apply Ignite to an enemy, you immediately gain 12 seconds of explosive fire, with an internal cooldown of 40 seconds, during which attacks that hits an enemy with 12 Ignite immediately explodes for X points of ranged damage, with an internal cooldown of 0.5 seconds. The 12 seconds of explosive fire is a buff, which means that this can be extended with any effects that increases beneficial effect duration, including Vithu's 2-piece. There's a very important typo here, and that is that the explosion triggers on any enemy that has 3 Ignite charges, not 12. And you can see this correct wording when you click on the explosive fire buff icon in-game. One really important note is that there is a cluster of enemies in front of you, all with 3 stacks of Ignite. They will all explode, hurting each other. Now, as far as I can tell, there isn't any kind of damage reduction beyond the first explosion hit, which means that this explosion damage goes exponentially higher as there are more enemies clumped together. And even on a single target, this is a substantial amount of damage. For your PvE setup, I would recommend using 6-piece of Conflagration, paired with either 2-piece of Vithus if you are a class that has a lot of buffs, 2-piece of a Banquet of Eyes, or 2-piece of Barons. Personally, I prefer the 2-piece Barons over the other sets. When I tested the various setups using my BK on the test dummy, 6-piece Conflagration with 2-piece Barons outdamaged the other sets by a fair margin. For PvP, you can use the same setup, but you can also use Mount Banks as your 2-piece. Depending on your class and your resonance, you may not always be able to take advantage of the 6-piece bonus. In that case, I would recommend trying 4-piece Conflagration with 4-piece Grace, or with 4-piece Banquet of Eyes. Alternatively, you can try 4-piece Conflagration with any combination of 2-piece Mount Banks, 2-piece Vithus, 2-piece Banquet of Eyes, and 2-piece Barons. And now I want to showcase how overpowered this set is for PvE content. Here I'm doing Challenge Rift 480 where I am doing 73% reduced damage. And here you can see how fast mobs are getting melted. This challenge rift almost looks like an Elder Rift. The bigger the enemy pack, the more damage you will do. And there you have it, 2.5 minutes on a challenge rift that has 73% damage reduction. Hope you guys find this video informative. Like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.